Everyone, Bear here. So a couple weeks ago I did a video on shelters, tents, hammocks, tarps, things like that. I'll put a link to that up in the top corner up here. Today I want to talk about sleep systems. Sleeping bags, sleeping pads, things like that. Things you can carry backpacking with you to make your sleep a whole lot better. Stick around. You'll want to see that. Let's talk about sleep systems. And by sleep systems, I basically mean sleeping bags, sleeping pads, things you normally would sleep in, whether you're in a hammock, a tarp, a tent, something along those lines. Your sleep system should be for warmth and comfort. Those are the two main priorities that you should look for in a sleep system. So the first thing you want to look at is your warmth. And how do you do that is to insulate yourself from the temperature outside. Whether that temperature just be normal cool day or whether that temperature is really, really cold, you want to insulate yourself from the outside weather. In Texas, it doesn't get really, really cold. We might have hardly any fall, hardly any spring, and maybe a month, maybe two of winter time. And by winter time, I usually mean a couple of days of freezing, and that's about it. So if you're camping in Central Texas, you're camping in the Texas area, you're probably not going to be experiencing really, really cold weather. For that reason, my normal sleep setup is this right here. This is a down throw. It's a Blue Ridge Home Fashion. I got it on Amazon. It was, I think $30, something like that. But it's great. It's downfield, so it's going to keep real good insulation if it gets cool in the nighttime. But the majority of the time, this and the sleeping pad, that's all I need. I mean, I'm pretty much comfortable. Now, I do have this Kelty synthetic bag, and I think I paid $25 for it or $30 for it. The difference in synthetic or downfield is that downfield will hold its insulation properties really, really well unless it gets wet. If it gets wet, down just does not hold its insulation properties. Synthetic will still maintain its insulation properties even if it's wet. So there is an advantage there, but other than that, I've always just felt like a downfield blanket keeps you warmer, it insulates you better. Synthetic is more breathable, but I like a downfield blanket. For that reason, my sleeping bag, this is a 30-degree mummy bag, is also downfield. It's heavy, does make for a heavy sleeping bag, but if it's going to get really cold, that's what I'm going to be in. So, sleeping bags are rated by their temperature setting. And basically what they do is they look at the temperature that you're going to sleep in, that you're going to be exposing yourself to, and then they try to adjust the sleeping bag to that temperature, adjust your temperature to maintain that temperature. So if you get a 30 or 20, or like I said, this is a 30 bag, if you get a 30 bag, that means you're probably going to be staying in temperatures around 40 degrees, something like that. I would not pick a bag that is exactly the number that you're going to go sleeping in. So if you're going to go into an area and you know that this area is going to get about 20 degrees, you might want to get a 10-degree bag or even a 0-degree bag just to be on the safe side. Never go with the exact temperature of what it says it's going to be, because that could fluctuate. And if it does get warmer than that, say if you're in an area where you think it's going to be 20 and it actually turns out to be 30 degrees, you can always unzip the bag, expose a little bit, let a little bit of air in, and breathability. There's a lot of features on the sleeping bag that you want to look for also. The zipper on the bag needs to be easy to undo when you're in the bag. Get inside the bag. REI will let you test this out. REI will let you lay in a couple of these bags. You can get in them. You can test the zipper out. How hard is it to unzip all the way down? Some bags even have two-way zippers where you can unzip just a little bit of the bottom of it. Some quilts have snaps along the side where you can make a foot box out of it in case your feet need to be covered up but just the rest of your body you just want to cover up with the quilt. That being said, you also have to look at, are you a warm sleeper or a cold sleeper? I'm a warm sleeper, so whatever the temperature is outside or in my bedroom, I'm always a little bit colder than, a little bit warmer than that. So I try to get a sleeping bag that is going to accommodate that, something that if I need to, I can open it up, I can get out of. This one has a really good zipper on it. I can get out of the zipper on it really well. I do like the mummy feature of it. Sometimes I like to just cover my whole face up, pull it all, the string closed, and just go to sleep. It's really comfortable. I've actually spent the night in that in a 16-degree weather. It's a 30-degree bag. I did have a base layer of clothes on, but it worked perfectly. Now, that being said, that temperature that they're putting on there, the 30-degree temperature they're putting on there, they tested that with a sleeping pad in a tent, and you did have a base layer of clothing on the individual that was testing it. So you have to take those things in consideration. If you're not going to use a sleeping pad, that's going to throw this sleeping bag number off. If you're not going to be using base layer of clothing, say you sleep commando, I don't know. Your choice, your tent, you do it. If that's a situation, you might not be as comfortable as in a 30-degree bag. I did have a base layer of clothing on. I had some thermals on and slept very well, to be honest with you. So, that being said, always pick one with a temperature that's about 10 or 15 degrees above the lowest temperature you think you're going to be sleeping in. Sleeping bags, quilts, a quilt is a quilt. You cover up with it. It's really good downfield. It's going to maintain its temperature and maintain its area. So, that being said, what do you put this stuff on? This is a sleeping pad. This is my sleeping pad, my Outdoorsman Lab. I think I paid $30 or $40 for this on Amazon. It's great. It's comfortable. The main purpose of a sleeping pad is comfort and insulation, because it will insulate you from the ground below you. So say you're in an area that is 10, 15 degrees, the earth is going to be about that temperature as well. So in order to avoid that cold ground from sucking the heat out of you at nighttime, you need some kind of an insulation factor between you and the ground. The thin layer on the bottom of your tent is not enough to insulate you. This has air pockets in it, and these air pockets cause insulation between you and the ground below you. So sleeping pads are rated on what's called an R value, and the R value is basically the resistance of heat flow across a medium. This being the medium, the sleeping pad. Some sleeping pads have liners inside of them. There are air-filled sleeping pads like this one. You have a valve at the back of the sleeping pad. You basically 10 or 11 breaths and it's pretty much filled up, and you're good to go. There's self-inflating sleeping pads that have foam core inside that when you open the valve, it just draws in all the air and you have to press all that back out to put it up. There are also closed cell foam sleeping pads, which are the fold up kind. They kind of break down and fold up in accordion style. You can strap them to the bottom of your backpack or the top of your backpack, whatever your choice is. Those sleeping pads usually run about, they have maybe a 2 or 3 R value. Some of them have an aluminum, like a foil lining, kind of a silver lining on one side that reflects the heat back to you. The other side is pretty much just a dull yellow color or whatever color they come with. The thing is, you can stack R values. So you could take that 2 R pad, the sleeping pad, stack it on the bottom of your tent, put the inflatable mattress above it. If your inflatable mattress has a 2 as well, now you're at a 4, which is pretty high R value for sleeping pads. That's really going to reduce the amount of heat coming from you into the ground. That's going to probably keep you well, especially if you put on a 30-degree sleeping bag or something like that on top of it. You'll sleep really well after that. So always take into consideration where you're going to be camping at and what's the temperature area that you're going to be camping at. Is it going to be really low temps? Going to be really high temps? Look at the lowest possible temp, and like I said, take about 10 or 15 degrees off of that just to kind of get you some safety measures. The other thing is your sleep pattern. Are you a cold sleeper? Are you a warm sleeper? That'll help you determine a lot about what kind of sleeping bag, what kind of sleeping pad you're going to want to stay on. And other than that, just kind of make yourself comfortable and test out a couple of them. You know, like I said, I've got 3 set systems here that I've used, and they're great. If my sleeping bag was to get to a point where I couldn't use it anymore because it was getting really, really cold, I could probably get a liner for it and just put inside of it and go from there. If any of this helped you out, if you liked any of this, if any of this was completely wrong to you, you thought, man, that's just not the way to do it, there's a better way to do it, let me know. Let me know in the comments down below. I would love to hear from y'all. Give me a thumbs up if you appreciate what I'm doing, and you know, thank you very much for following my channel, and I appreciate it. Y'all have a great day.